Hi, so I haven't been vlogging because it's just been kind of boring and there's really nothing much to vlog. So I'm trying something new. I'm just gonna be telling some stories from life, and maybe I can get Steve to tell some stories. I'm an introvert. I'm very, very much attracted to extroverts who are a little crazy, hence why I'm with Steve. But I do have a lot of friends that are kind of like that too. I don't know, I'm just like their little introvert bubble. I'm like their little introverted mascot. So all of my life I have tried to tell stories about myself, and then I get interrupted within 5 words. Blatantly interrupted, very rudely interrupted by everybody, not just one person in my life, but just everybody in my whole entire life. Almost everybody in my entire life has always interrupted me when I'm like trying to tell a story or talking about me, I guess. They just blatantly interrupt me to talk about themselves, basically. So I rarely ever really talk when I'm in a group because nobody listens. So why am I gonna waste my breath? It's just gonna give me an attitude, and I don't like it. I would rather just listen to everybody. So with that being said, welcome to the very first installment of stories nobody wants to hear. This first story is about when I moved to Santa Cruz and moved in with a bunch of like Santa Cruz hippies and their shenanigans. So I lived in San Francisco for a long time. I was in a very long relationship and he didn't want to move from San Francisco. I was just stuck there. So I ended all that. I moved out of San Francisco, and I moved to Santa Cruz. And I have a very, very dear friend of mine who helped me out. He had an extra room, so I stayed in his room. Totally platonic male friend. He's one of my very inner circle people, and he helped me out. He had actually been kind of like pleading with me to move down to Santa Cruz because they needed vet techs, seasoned registered vet techs in Santa Cruz. So he basically kind of like hooked me up with the job, which is, oh, thank you. It was very, very helpful, extremely helpful. And I stayed in the extra room that he had, and within 2 weeks I had found a room, and I needed something that would be maybe $600 to $800 a month for a room or somewhere to stay. Santa Cruz is very expensive. You can't find a studio for that price. A studio down there is like easily $1,000 to $2,000 a month, depending on where you're at. So I found this room. My friend Seth, he went with me. I told him, hey, you know, I'm gonna check out this room. It's at Bethany Curve. Bethany Curve in Santa Cruz is a very nice neighborhood. Very close to the ocean. Beautiful. So Seth went with me and we looked at this room, and I met the main guy that I was gonna be dealing with at the house. His name was Mike. I'm just gonna tell his real name because nobody knows him. It's just Mike, very common name. So I dealt with Mike, very much a Santa Cruz hippie. Santa Cruz hippies are like, you know, they go to Burning Man, they dance naked at Burning Man, that type. Being with Seth, he's kind of a Santa Cruz hippie too. We met up with him, I saw the house, I saw the room. Seth was like, dude, this is a really nice area. This is a nice room, this is a nice house. Dude, that house was really, really nice. There was downstairs, and then there's the middle where the common area was, and then I was in a loft. It didn't have a door, but that was fine. I didn't mind. But it had like a wraparound staircase. And it was a cute room. It was exactly what I needed for it at the time of my life. It was only, what, like $650 a month? When I moved to Santa Cruz, a lot of spiritual stuff kind of started happening to me, where I would ask the universe for help and it would give it to me. It just blew my mind, like how that changed when I moved out of San Francisco. San Francisco was very, very stifling. It was a beautiful city. It's changed a lot. I have no desire to move back there. Okay, so back to the room. It was a little loft. It was adorable. There was like a wraparound, kind of almost wraparound windows. So I really had to block a lot of it because it was just too much light in the mornings, and I'm not a morning person. But at the same time, it was really nice because like I was being woken up by birds and sunlight, and then at night I had the full moon was out. I could see the full moon. I could see the moon wherever it like moved because of the way the windows were. Okay, so Mike was married. It was a couple. Mike, they called themselves Eminem. I forget her name. I think her name was Melody. Melissa? I'm just gonna call her Melody because I think that was her name. I don't remember. I didn't really talk to her very much. She wasn't always home. Mike was always home. And then there were, at that time when I just moved in, there were 2 other roommates or housemates. I forget their names. One was this tall ass fucking dude, and I didn't like him. He was kind of rude and like condescending, and just I didn't like the way he talked to me, which is crazy because he was like, oh, I'm a therapist. I don't even know if he was really like a licensed therapist. I doubt it. But he was like, oh yeah, I'm a shaman and I'm a therapist, and I work with psychedelic drugs and shit. So I was like, okay, you're one of those. All right, cool. And I just didn't like him. I didn't like the way he talked to me. He was just kind of a prick. The first week or 2 that I was there, he was already complaining about hair in the drain of the bathtub. I wash my hair maybe once every 4 days or so like that, because I can't overwash my hair. It just gets dried out. I was only there for like 2 weeks, and he's already complaining about oh, she's clogging up the drain. I'm like, motherfucker, it was clogging and not draining when I just got there. My very first time, it was already doing that. So don't be trying to blame it on me because I have long hair. Fuck you, dude. And I did a thorough deep cleaning in that bathroom maybe 2 or 3 times, and he would always go, oh, it's just always dirty. I'm like, motherfucker, don't even. I'm like, when it comes to the bathroom and the kitchen, I'm clean. Like, I could be messy, that's fine, but dirty, no. He just rubbed me the wrong way, and I didn't like him. Fucking. So I'll just call him the shaman, because that's what he was. And then the other roommate, the 4th roommate, was this girl, and they were all like that Santa Cruz hippie type. And the girl, the last roommate, I don't know her name. It must have been like Kelly with an IE, not with a Y type, you know, has to be different. I'll just call her Kelly because I don't remember, and that just seems appropriate for her. She was this blonde. Okay, all these people were very good to look at. They were easy on the eyes. Even the dickhead shaman, he was, you know, a nice looking dude, and she was pretty. I only saw her maybe 2 or 3 times the whole time that I lived there. She was never home. She was kind of a mess. The times I did see her, she was kind of like a drunk mess. But she was very nice the times I did meet her. Kelly with an IE, not with a Y. I don't even know if that's her name, but that's like, you know, the type. Okay, so you got the cast of characters here. You got Mike, Melody, Shaman, dickhead, and Kelly with an IE, not with the Y. So Mike is the one that I always talk to. He was always there. He was always home. I have no idea what he did for a living because he definitely was not like working a steady job at all the whole time that I was there. He was very smart though, very talkative, very talkative. I don't know how I attract people who talk a lot, but I do. I guess I'm just a good listener. I don't know, whatever. So Mike was 52. I have no idea what he did for a living. I have no idea how he paid the rent because I never saw him like go to a traditional 9-to-5 job. He wasn't a paralegal, he wasn't a lawyer, he wasn't an advocate, but he loved reading contracts and he loved breaking it down and like really trying to understand the contracts. He loved it. I have no idea why. He was very smart, very talkative, but he was pretty cool. I liked him. He was very intense too. Very, very intense guy. He was a Scorpio like me, but he was like an intense Scorpio. Melody, his wife, was at the time 34. This information will come in handy later, I promise. Mike would just sit in the dining room table, on the dining room table, and just read contracts and like study. For what? I have no idea. I don't know. Honestly, I have no fucking clue. No idea how he paid the rent. He was friends with the landlord of the house, or the owner of the house. The owner of the house was actually an anesthesiologist and made bank, and that was just one of his houses. So I don't know what kind of deal they struck where I never saw him work. I mean, I remember one time that he went to help a lady, like go to court and help her out somehow, but I didn't really, it wasn't my business to be like, how do you pay rent? I never see you work, you know? And Melody, she was going to class for being a midwife or a birth doula. I don't know. Anyway, she was taking classes for that, and she wasn't working. So I dealt with Mike a lot. I dealt with him a lot. He was 52 years old, did not look 52. He took very well care of himself. Just yoked, like no fat on his body, but lean. Like a small, like a cruiserweight, if you're into wrestling. A cruiserweight body, but maybe even a little leaner. Me and him would always talk a lot. Well, he mostly did talking, I did listening. But we had some good conversations. And this house had this great porch. I spent a lot of time on that porch. We weren't allowed to smoke inside the house. Totally get it. So we had a designated smoking area. I would literally sit there for maybe hours and just listen to my music and smoke a bowl, and just kind of contemplate my life at that time. You know, going through a serious breakup. You know, needed that time to heal. And Santa Cruz and Aptos, all in kind of in the same area of California, really helped me with that a lot. The whole spiritual thing opened up for me the moment I left San Francisco, and a lot of things were happening for me in Santa Cruz that I had kind of prayed for. Just kind of asked the universe to help me out, and it did, and it was crazy. Melody, she was more of the animal girl. He wasn't really into animals. I mean, he tolerated them, but it was mostly her. They had 2 little Chihuahua dogs, mix. I think one was like full Chihuahua and one was like a mix. They were cool dogs. I like them. And they had like a python, a big old python. The cage wasn't very noticeable. You have to like, oh shit, there's a snake in there. So there was this one shenanigan in particular that really stands out in my head. They had invited a few friends over, maybe like 1 or 2 friends, not a lot of people. It was the couple, Eminem, Kelly with an IE, not with a Y, and then like another girlfriend. I don't remember if there was like a second dude there, but there was definitely more of a female thing happening down there. And what they had done, they had made mushroom tea. They probably used the Shaman's mushrooms, pretty sure, because you know it's accessible. So I had come home kind of late that particular day. I don't remember where I came from. It was probably like work, and then I went to go hang out with somebody and then came home. But it was maybe around 8 o'clock, and these guys were like, hey, we just made some mushroom tea, and we're just gonna shroom out tonight and have some fun. And I mean, they had candles going, all the lights were all dim. It was a very beautiful setting, how they had set everything up, you know, put some extra blankets and, I mean, pillows. I mean, they did it up, and it was very nice, and it was very inviting and tempting. But I had to work the next day, and I was like, no, I can't. I gotta work the next day. I can't be shrooming out and then going to work. That's not cool. So I passed on that, and I was like, no, I'm cool. I gotta work tomorrow. You guys have fun. Don't worry about me. I can sleep through it. It's fine. I don't mind. You know, I do my thing upstairs, go to sleep. Okay, so maybe it was around maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. At this time, I had to go pee, so I got up, went to the bathroom. And then as I'm going back upstairs, I noticed that they had let the snake out. So they were like playing with the snake. They were shrooming out. They were already like, oh, I guess they were dancing too. I remember dancing. I was like, oh yeah, just going up the stairs. And as I'm going up the stairs, the freaking snake is like slithering down the stairs to where like the bottom story of the house is. You know, half asleep, going up the stairs like, just a snake going down the stairs. Okay, I'm gonna go up now. I try to go to sleep. An hour later, I hear Mike, Juliet, like calling up from the stairs. Juliet, have you seen the snake? And I just started like giggling to myself. Me hice la loca, like I was still asleep. And then I hear Melody go, shh, shh, leave her alone, she's trying to sleep. And I'm just like there giggling like, oh my god, these guys took an hour to notice that the snake was gone. Okay, so the next morning I wake up and I'm a little groggy, but not that bad. Like, I've always kind of had weird sleep. But I go downstairs and they're all like laid out on the floor, on the couch, like out. And I'm just like laughing to myself like, oh my god, these guys shroomed out or passed out everywhere, like half naked. All of them were like half naked. I think even too that night, Kelly with an IE, not with the Y, and Melody were like doing this kind of like, they were steaming their vaginas. Melody had bought this. It's like for old people, I guess, to help them poop. It kind of hovers over the toilet and it has a hole in it, and I guess it's like an old people thing. But they had one because they wanted it to put this like steaming bath water with like petals and like herbs and stuff, and like put it under their vaginas and steam, have like a herbal steam of their vagina. So so you can imagine these girls like shrooming out, steaming their vaginas with the herbal blend and losing a snake and shrooming until they pass out. And I'm walking down the next morning like, oh my god, this is hilarious. Like, what the fuck? So those shrooms actually did come in handy later on in my stay there. I was kind of going through that whole breakup thing, going through a little bit of a depression, but still like staying strong. And I'm like, you know what? I can't wait. I can see the end of the tunnel of this whole bullshit and I'm gonna be cool. But I still had those moments where like I just needed to cry it out because I'm still mourning this like long ass relationship. And those shrooms came in handy one day. I expected something and got something else out of it, which was actually turned out to be great. One particular day I was just depressed and I was trying to numb it out. I had made myself some margaritas and I saw some shrooms in the freezer from Shaman Dickhead. So I grabbed one. I had already tried shrooms and kind of liked it. Oh, UPS is right in front of my door. Okay, the UPS wasn't for me, it was for the neighbors. Sometimes my sister will send me packages out of nowhere because she spoils me. I'm spoiled. I'm sorry, I'm a brat like that. But it's not for me. Okay, moving on. The shrooms and the margaritas. So I'm like trying to numb out because I was having a bad day, and I made myself some margaritas. It was delicious, but I was still like feeling shit. So I saw these shrooms in the freezer. I had previously already tried shrooms before. They just made me giggle a lot. So I was like, okay, cool, maybe they'll just like, you know, help me, you know. Not a lot of experience with the shrooms, but the last time that I had them, I just giggled and I thought I was having a lot of fun. So I tried it again. I took shroom, just ate it. I've learned about shrooms is that whatever you're feeling at that moment, the shroom is just going to enhance whatever you're feeling. So I was like depressed, feeling like shit, you know, trying not to like cry too much, and I took these shrooms and dude, I had the most wonderful just cry session. I mean, I didn't care who was home, but I was just like bawling, like ugly crying, like sobbing, where anybody could hear me if they were home, but nobody was home, thank goodness, because I didn't want to deal with that. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it was just like letting it all out, like all these toxic feelings just shedding. To this day, it was the best cry that I've ever had in my entire life. I know that sounds weird, but if you ever had that emotional vomit of crying and letting it out, it was beautiful, and I really needed that, and it was great. So that was my experience with them shrooms. And that was actually the last time that I've had shrooms. I've tried shrooming again with friends, but it just never really happened. Nobody had access to it. I didn't have access to it anymore. And yeah, that was the last time. Okay, another story that I have was Halloween. The only Halloween that I had in that house. I had a friend come over and stay the night. I forget what we did. She stayed over Saturday night until Sunday morning. Then that morning we had gone to just brunch. Me and her went to brunch, and we had bottomless mimosas. It was delicious. It was great. And we got home, and we see this girl, like a total stranger, don't know her, and she was like messy drunk in her costume. I can't even remember what costume she was wearing, but she was definitely like holding some of it in her hand. You know, makeup was like all fucked up, and she was fucked up, and she was like straggling, and me and my girl were like, walk of shame. Where's this girl going? I hope she's okay. She looks like, hey, this is a good neighborhood, so I'm not too scared with, you know, for her safety. So we just go home. And later that day, come to find out that she was actually Kelly's friend. Kelly with the IE, not with the Y. That was her friend, her messy ass friend, coming home, hella drunk. I don't know where Kelly had been. Maybe they were hanging out, and then I don't know. I have no idea, but that girl was like in the house. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I don't know what happened to Kelly, but she moved out sometime. I don't know when. I never really saw her, but she moved out. And then this other guy came in, and another Santa Cruz hippie, super nice guy. I don't remember his name at all, but he was very nice. He was very, very kind. You know, really cool aura, just super kind eyes, that kind of a thing. And he had brought this really cool water filter. It was this tall cylinder tower thing, like maybe 3 feet high. There was a tank up top, and in the middle it was like sand and carbon and rocks and weird shit, and you would pour it and it would just like get filtered by all this natural stuff, and it was the most delicious water that I've ever tasted. It was so smooth, it was delicious. I used that thing all the time, always filled it, always filled it, always filled it. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but I just thought it was the most delicious water. Okay, so this is the last story, because it was like the end all be all of stories while living in this house. I only lived in this house for like 8 months, because I could have stayed there a lot longer, but shit went down. Okay, for some crazy reason, I probably know why, because men are men, but they started doing this open relationship thing, and the moment he said that, I was like, in my mind, it's not gonna go well. This is gonna end very badly for them. Why are you doing this? But you know, I didn't want to be like judgmental. I didn't want to be all up in her business. I just, it's not my business. That's like your thing, dude. If you want it, if she wants it, great. The same girl that they had invited for this shrooming tea thing night was the girl that, I don't know if he ever actually slept with her, but she was definitely part of like a threesome with the wife. And I mean, it's like she was there while they were doing it. He would just tell me this stuff. I never asked. I was just sitting there smoking my bowl, drinking some lemonade or my rum or whatever I was having that day, coffee, tea, whatever. He would just tell me this. So this girl had become part of it. And then the guy started, they invited this guy, and he was all cuddling up with Melody, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's your business. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm just gonna go up into the patio and do my thing, just chill, listen to my music, whatever. Mike would come out and just be like, oh yeah, we're trying this open relationship thing. Like he would be telling me how this whole thing is happening, how it's going down, how the open relationship, oh, what such a great idea. But it would sound like he was trying to convince himself, totally trying to convince himself. He was just like talking it out, and I was just there listening. But it was totally, he was trying to convince himself. And he would like ask me questions, and I didn't want to get too into it, but in my mind I was totally like, this is totally a double standard. Like, you have fun with the other girl when the other girl's involved, but obviously the moment a guy is introduced into this whole open relationship bullshit, it's gonna go bad. Like, you're not gonna like it. And he was obviously jealous, and he was like telling me, oh no, it was great. No, you're trying to convince yourself, dude. And then on top of that, he was 52 years old. He had an 18-year-old from a previous marriage and was done having kids. He was like, I'm old, I'm 52 years old, I don't want to be a dad again. I'm cool, I'm done with that. And then Melody being 34, she was like, oh, my biological clock is ticking. I'm taking these classes for birthing and you know, all this. And I'm just like thinking to myself, you guys didn't talk about this before you got married? Having kids and not having kids is a big deal. Like, you didn't talk it through before you got married? Like, why? So now she's like wanting to be a mom, and he was like, no. And then the open relationship, oh, you know, we can fuck with the girl, but we can't fuck with this guy. And then I don't know what the arrangement, I don't know what exactly happened. But I guess the arrangement was, it's only considered cheating if they're not using a condom, not using protection. And I guess that happened where someone didn't use protection somewhere, and shit was just going down. So shit was going down, and you know, I'd be doing my thing, going upstairs, you know, chilling, and I would just hear him bawling, sobbing in the kitchen, and I was just like, I just want to go get some grape juice. I don't want to be part of this mess. I don't want to listen to anybody right now. Like, I got my own shit going down right now that I gotta deal with. Like, this isn't my drama. So I don't want to be part of that drama. I don't want to listen to the sobbing. It's exhausting. And actually, I generally don't really mind it, but I get a lot of people who vent to me because I'm a great listener. But it's very exhausting to me after a while. Like, yeah, I'll be there, I'll be supportive, but it's exhausting. And these people are not even, they're not family, they're not like close friends, they're just like roommates who got into this bullshit open relationship, and now it's going down, and I don't wanna be part of that. So I never went down to like, oh, are you okay? No, I just want grape juice and go up to my room and watch my Netflix. Like, I don't want to deal with that. Ooh. Almost knocked that down. So I would just be stuck in my room hearing him sob about the relationship and how it's going down, and I rarely saw her around. She'd come to me kind of like, oh, I don't know what's happening. I'm like, like not trying to be part of that whole situation, not touching it. So obviously that whole relationship didn't end well. Like, they were just breaking up, they were packing things out, you know. I don't know what he was doing for a job, but towards the end of that whole thing, he was trying to like do some growing business up in Mendocino County, and he would drive up 3 hours up to, I don't know, I have no idea. The house was starting to empty out. Like, I would never see anybody anymore. And this random ass lady moved in the last month we were supposed to be there. and she was like this registered nurse. She just kind of, I just saw her in the kitchen one day, and I'm just like, who the fuck are you? She was like, oh, hey, I'm just renting out the room for a little bit, and she like started talking. She was kind of a weird lady. She was like, oh, you know, you should really print out your credit rating, and we'll try and find a place together. And I'm like, bitch, I don't know you, and these people are fucking crazy. Like, I'm trying to get away from this drama because it's not my drama, and no, I'm not moving anywhere with any of y'all. Like, we're done here, we're done. That's it. That's the story of my time, my 8 months living with these Santa Cruz hippies. Oh, wait a minute. No. Okay, I do have one little story. It's weird, supernatural shit that kind of happened to me. So like I said, a lot of spiritual stuff was happening to me. Like, I just felt this weird, like, tingly, like, electricity, like, shit was just happening. I guess you could say that that household was more of the witch inclined type of spiritual people, which is fucking great with me. I don't mind. I get it. This one particular night, I think it was after somebody in that house must have done some kind of ritual. Nothing bad, nothing crazy, just, you know, doing their thing. Totally fine. This one night I was dead asleep, and out of nowhere I was starting to dream a lot too, like just very vividly dream. And maybe it was part of a dream, maybe it wasn't, I don't know, but I can't explain it. I was just asleep. All of a sudden I hear a breath, but it was more like a blow, like that. And I like felt it, and I was sleeping, and I felt it was definitely like a masculine energy. I don't know why it felt like that, but it did. Like a masculine energy blowing in my face, and it woke me up out of nowhere. Like, it just woke me up, and I was awake. It wasn't like a groggy, like, what was that? No, it was like a, what was that? That was weird. And that was probably like the very beginning of even more shit that happened later on in Santa Cruz, and that's another story for another time. You'll just have to listen to that if you want, because, you know, this is stories that nobody wants to hear. That's it. That's all I got, guys. That's it for today. All right, we're done. Bye.